The Xbox layoffs. And not only a layoffs, it was just like the Xbox like massive dump. Just everything bad this past
And it may not
week.
even be done.
No.
Like there may be more.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we could start off with saying that 9,000-ish staff are going to be affected by the layoffs. Keep in mind that I think that's more employees than most major game companies in like their entire, like 9,000 staff is a massive amount of people.
Probably bigger than a lot of companies.
Yeah, it's
just companies.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of people. That's a small town.
Yeah, it is a crazy amount of people being laid off.
It is all of Microsoft, not just gaming.
Yes.
But it's a company-wide layoff.
Yeah.
It's not just Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
As for the Xbox portion, a whole slew of games were canceled and studios were closed or are in the process of being closed down. The biggest profile one, The Initiative, who were making Perfect Dark. That game was in development for 5+ years, and it has been canceled. It is being shut down. So that game is done for. Everwild, which was the new Rare project, that was in development for 6+ years. That has been canceled. Which means I guess Rare is just going to focus on Sea of Thieves and only Sea of Thieves moving forward. Not great.
Not great.
Yeah. ZeniMax Online Studios, the people who, of course, do Elder Scrolls Online, they were working on a brand new MMO called Project Blackbird. That was 3 years in development. It was supposed to come out in 2028, apparently. And it was a noir-themed MMO with a big focus on traversal. The team working on it has been laid off, so we will not see anything more of that project. John Romero's new games, in the company, Romero Games, was confirmed by, I think, Brenda Romero on Twitter? No, it was on Blue Sky. Stated that the development of their upcoming FPS had been canceled. We have no idea how long that was in development or when it was scheduled to be released. But it is done. And all the studios affected, just to rattle off some of those which we've already discussed. The Initiative canceled. Rare was affected. Turn 10, those are the Forza devs. That's 50% of the workforce was apparently laid off, reportedly. ZeniMax Online Studios, that was Project Blackbird. And also the executive Matt Führer was gone. Unknown number of staff were affected at Halo Studios. Raven Software, who work on Call of Duty, had some folk that were let go. High Moon, which is a Call of Duty support studio, that was affected. Sledgehammer Games, who make Modern Warfare, was affected by the cuts. Blizzard, specifically the Warcraft Rumble team, has had operations ceased and had about 100 people reportedly cut from there. And then 10% of the staff of King, the makers of Candy Crush, about 200 people have been affected from that studio as well. And that's not all the stuff that's happened, because there's just been some very interesting commentary to come from this. The first being the memo that Phil Spencer sent out to staff, which, man, one of those things where we've had him on the show, and I read this and I'm just like, I really hope someone else wrote this for you, because fuck me, man. It is.
That was a little rough, man.
Yeah,
that was a side of Phil. I feel like he was trying hard to cultivate us not seeing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I feel like the beginning, Phil really felt like, I'm your gamer buddy. I'm here to, let's make great games. I'm here to help game devs make great games. Let's all do this together. And this is like much more corporate Phil.
Yeah.
maybe the years are maybe the facade's starting to thin out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like you start to think maybe it was always there. Maybe he does have a job at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so it's
he got hired
job
for this.
Yeah.
He got hired to do exactly what he's doing now. I just think maybe we all thought he was a bit more kind of for the gamers than it is turning out that he is much more, I think, for the boardroom. Which, again, makes sense. That's what his job is. That's right. Yeah. Which I think is why we were all very surprised when he seemed less like that and more, let's go make good games. So, I think reality is just starting to come to fruition a bit more.
Yeah, it's someone in my chat is quick to point out, that's a very hard thread to ride for a super long time.
Yeah, and he did a good job for a long time.
Yeah.
He did a good job for a good while.
Definitely a case of living too long and becoming the villain.
Yeah. That was
Logical Air says, did a good job? I was pretty jazzed at the beginning when they were picking up studios, when like Wasteland 3 came out and they were talking about how good the Microsoft, infusions had been and how it helped the project. Like there was a period of time when things seemed to be moving in a great direction. It wasn't a long time.
Yeah.
But that was around the time we had him on the show. Things were going better. Things seemed to be on a pretty good trajectory with that. But that was before the closures and stuff. Or right near before we knew how bad it was going to get.
Right.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where I don't know if I'm equipped to say if he did a good job or not, right? Because there's so many, what do you judge that on? A lot of stuff, we don't know what he did behind the scenes. We only know kind of publicly what he was out there, having memos from the firings put out and all that stuff. So I don't know. I can't really say. If you're a shareholder, I think you're happy. If you're a community, I don't think you're happy. And so it depends where you fall on that side of the coin, ultimately, on if he did a good job or not. Some of the stuff in this memo, though, is a little hard to swallow.
What about the making money and this is how we continue to stay profitable?
Yeah.
And, that hurt. That was tough. That was tough.
Is it where is? I'm trying to find that exact. Was it towards the end? Maybe it was here. It says, I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap has never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We make choices now that we've for continued success in future years, and our key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those roles that are impacted. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental, as the result of years of dedicated effort from our teams. So thanks, but we gotta let you go.
There's so many red flags there.
Yeah.
There's so many red flags. Okay, if you're acting like you this is normal and you knew it, so why didn't you plan for this? They're saying things like, this is our, I don't know. Lots of unfortunately, lots of Corpo double talk in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, man. And then the big thing that this goes up against is the premise of the entire paragraph you just read is, we're going to distill down to our strongest products. We're going to do the whole thing that Microsoft was doing, acquiring all these small studios, was making us feel like they were going to make all these great games. And then here they are later going, oh, no. We're just going to pick the strongest out of all those groups and just kill off all the rest. And that's how we work.
Yeah.
That's how this works, is what they're saying. This is how we made our profits, and it's how we're going to make profits next year. And when next year we make a lot of money, we're going to talk about this that we're doing here when we do our layoffs next year. So it's like, damn, dude. Like, talk about, like,
Yeah.
that's real backwards, man. That's not very cool.
Gets a little bit worse. In a Seattle Times report, for those unaware, Microsoft is located in kind of the Seattle, Richmond area in northwestern U.S. The Seattle Times reported that all of this reduction in headcount is to free up more capital for AI spending. Specifically, the company is looking to invest more money in AI infrastructure and technologies and is making various cuts across many organizations and divisions to fund these efforts.
And tell me something. Do you think all of the millions of saved money going into this new research to get AI implemented at the company, do you think that's going to replace the jobs of the people they already fired?
Yeah. Is this like a test to see if they can do it? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That is really unfortunate, man.
Microsoft has announced that it intends to spend, this is WindowsCentral.com reporting, Microsoft has announced that it intends to spend $80 billion on AI infrastructure in the coming year to keep pace with the rest of the AI bubble. This is up $25 billion from the previous fiscal year. In recent weeks, reports have suggested that Microsoft and OpenAI's multi-billion-dollar partnership has become strained as both companies seek different things. So it's all in kind of the name of AI, ultimately, is what I'm gathering from all this. So you start to think like, well, how was this just like a directive from the Microsoft CEO? Is it Natella? I forgot what his name is. Satya something. I forgot what his last name is. Like, is this basically him being like, we need more, you got to free up money. We need this film.
I don't know.
Go do it.
Yeah, some people in chat were saying that that these came straight from Microsoft, all the cuts.
Yeah.
Not inside. So, I mean,
yeah.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows? It's hard. I mean, we'll never know, right?
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate across the board. A lot of those, all of those games looked great. Also, I just got a spam message about how AI I can unlock my hidden growth. The timing of that could not be better.
Well, thank God someone can, JP.
Just the absurdity of that spam text. Oh God. Fuck me. Yeah, just a huge multitude of studios affected by that, and it's rough. But hey, the Xbox producer in a now deleted LinkedIn post. You know, that's a great way to start a
That's what I was going to say. That. In a now deleted post.
Yeah. Aftermath.site is reporting Matt Turnbull, who is a executive producer at Xbox Game Studios Publishing, posted a LinkedIn memo to all of his laid off co-workers. If you're navigating a layoff or even quiet preparing for one, you're not alone, and you don't have to go it alone. I know these types of tools engender strong feelings in people, but I'd remiss in not trying to offer the best advice I can understand the circumstances. I've been experimenting with ways to use LLM AI tools like ChatGPT or Copilot to help reduce emotional and cognitive load that comes with job loss. Here are some prompt ideas and use cases that might help if you're feeling overwhelmed. Career planning prompts. Act as a career coach. I've been laid off from a role in the game industry. Help me build a 30-day plan to regroup, research new roles, and start applying without burning out. What kind of game industry jobs could I pivot to with the experience in blank, blank, blank? Resume and LinkedIn help. Here's my current resume. Give me 3 tailored versions. One for AAA, one for platform/publishing roles, and one for startup/small studio leadership.
Bro, no.
Rewrite this resume bullet to highlight impact and metrics. Draft a new LinkedIn About Me section that focuses on my leadership style, ship titles, and vision for game development. He kept going on. And then he ends, no AI tool is a replacement for your own voice or lived experience. But at a time when mental energy is scarce,
what he just said it was.
These tools can help you get unstuck faster, calmer, and with more clarity. this helps, feel free to share with others in your network. Stay kind, stay smart, stay connected.
Oh, man. Wonder how fast his boss ran into his office and was like, delete that now.
I mean, he's not got many, he's a executive, he's an EP. So that would have had to come from probably someone like Phil be like, what the fuck? I would love to see what Phil is like when he's angry. Do you think he's a yeller?
I bet he gets quiet.
Do you think he's a quiet?
I bet he's a
angry
quiet
guy?
fury. He strikes me as the speak silently and carry a big stick kind of guy. Yeah, he does.
I could see that.
He just can't, like someone in chat, Zangbar says, he doesn't get mad, he just gets disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he walks around
dad
the
level
office like a
disappointment.
fucking Terminator.
Maybe.
He's just like daring anybody to look at him.
Yeah. It's got to be pretty awkward when he shows up at your studio unannounced or something. He's like, yeah, I'm here to see the game. And you're like, really, Phil? That's really? The game is going great, Phil. It's great. You don't need to be here.
That's funny. You stopped by Tango right before it shut down too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's our game.
You're like the cat in the retirement home, like plops down when he knows.
Yeah.
Like, so how's it going? How's everything over here?
Yep.
Good.
So outside of all that, there was a Twitter back and forth, which is kind of the talk of the greater industry this morning, between Rafael Colantonio, who is the former, or rather the founder of Arcane Studios, who's no longer with, I don't think.
He is now with Wolfeye.
Yeah.
They made Weird West, and they have an awesome new game coming out.
Yeah, so he tweeted out, why is no one talking about the elephant in the room, cough, cough, and then parenthesis, Game Pass, which prompted a user to ask him, as a dev, what are your thoughts on Game Pass? And he responded, I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging for the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's, quote, infinite money, end quote, but at some point, reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up. Which my community was very quick to point out. Rami said that exact thing, kind of a different form, a couple of years ago on the show. So it seems like this is an ongoing, like collective thought amongst a lot of developers.
People have kind of been saying this since Game Pass came out.
Yeah.
Like it was one of the biggest points of contention when it was first being released conceptually.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a huge issue. It absolutely is. And Raph is absolutely right. And honestly, like what's interesting is we're seeing the ramification. We just did. I mean, look at this. Microsoft with its wildly successful Game Pass and everything's working so great, just fired 9,000 people. So clearly this is like, no, it's not sustainable at all. And it's working arguably as pretty much best as it could right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he's nailed it.
Yep. And so this prompted Twitter user Cromwell, aka I forget. Code, do you know his full name?
For who?
For Crom over at Larian. Cromwell on Twitter.
I thought he renamed his name officially to Cromwell, his Twitter handle. Is that not?
Oh, okay. Well, that's his. Yeah, no, that's his thing.
That's all I've known about.
He's one of the, yeah,
Cromwell.
He's one of the heads over at Larian, and he's
very popular on Twitter.
Yeah, very outspoken as well. Anytime you've seen like Larian exec has comment or kind of gets looped in a lot with things Finn has said, because he's usually echoing a lot of what Finn has said. He jumped into the conversation and quit and said, what happens when all the money runs out? Question mark is the most vocal concern in my network and one of the main economic reasons people I know haven't shifted to its business model. The infinite money thing never made any sense. Raphael responded, I agree. I'm fed up with all the BS they fed us at first. Like, don't worry, it doesn't impact the sales, only to admit years later that it totally does. No shit, it does. And then we had a bunch of other folk jump in. I don't think Game Pass was made to be profitable, sustainable in the short to the medium term. Microsoft is running a marathon. Game Pass was also instrumental in Microsoft's attempt at pushing streaming to the forefront of the market. Raphael responded and said, I agree, but it's a long game that involves throwing a tsunami at the entire ecosystem of the industry. Only the gamers like it because the offer is too good to be true, but eventually even gamers will hate it because they realize the effects on the games. I think that's where like our community is at the origin of right now, where they're starting to see like, oh, fuck, it is kind of affecting everyone else. I don't know.
It's a fantastic value.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that
not,
narrative will
yeah.
always eclipse
Yeah.
the other narrative that he mentioned, because you're right, it's insane.
Still a good value.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a problem. That's a
Yeah.
problem.
Well, it sucks to know that the only way that it would be sustainable is if you got to a point where you plateau and stay there and be happy with that. You get
But
to
that's
this number
not
of
how
like,
it works.
I know that. But that's the shitty
Business
thing.
is
Is if
transient.
you want to sustain Game Pass, you have to. You're going to get to a point where the numbers don't go up anymore, and then you have to like stop paying as many people for their games to be a Game Pass, day one exclusive, stuff like that. It'll still be a fucking great deal for everyone that still pays for it, but there's only a finite amount of people who are going to ever buy Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people will quit. And people will die and cancel.
Yeah. Conversation kind of, I think, went to DMs after that, or started to die out. But there was a dying comment out of Cromwell. He said, regarding cannibalization of sales, quote, we aren't seeing that. The economics never made sense, but at the same time, I do recognize that for smaller teams with newer, riskier IPs, it helped de-risk. I much prefer Sony's life cycle management strategy. Which, yeah. And then Raphael kind of ended and said, yeah, the only way Game Pass, they call it GP, can coexist without hurting everyone is for the back catalog. So he's essentially saying like the now launching with Game Pass type deal on day one is maybe the biggest culprit for a lot of that. Which, yeah, I feel like that's the biggest risk aversion of it all for Microsoft is when a game, I mean, we just saw it with what FBC Firebreak, right? Like they touted incredible numbers of players. The majority of those were probably sales on Game Pass, or sorry, not sales. They were all on Game Pass. Yeah. So it's an interesting time. I do wonder how long that stuff can exist with what Microsoft is doing at the moment. So we'll see. Yeah, chat's very quick to bring up Expedition 33. Like a lot of reason people were able to get that game is because Game Pass, right? Like put them in, started that buzz. Might be the exception to the rule, but it still is a great exception. Right? Who knows if it
Now I feel bad that I like Game Pass. Don't feel bad you like a good value. It's not you. Like, no, I mean, that's it, that's exactly what the people who are making the games want you to do.
Yeah.
So what needs to change is what they want you to do. So, it's that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, it always helps to buy games directly if you really enjoy a game. If you have some extra bucks, and especially if you play like an indie game or something, like just pick up a copy of it.
And that's this thing that we're discussing right now, and chat's kind of, I think, starting to experience if they're not already. It's exactly what the devs are saying. Like, for consumers, Game Pass is fucking awesome. Like, they can't refute that. And it's kind of, to put words in their mouth, it's kind of an unwinnable battle. Like, at the end of the day, consumers are going to play a game and play that game the easiest and cheapest way to do it outside of pirating it, right? And so that's what Game Pass is kind of fulfilling at the moment, as it's the cheapest and easiest way to play those games. You click a button, the game's on your hard drive. You don't
It's
even
the exact same product they would pay more for.
Yeah.
In many cases.
Now, as long as that doesn't get super convoluted, we won't do what's happening to like TV and circle all the way back down to piracy, right? Because now everyone on TV jumped on the Netflix thing. And there's a billion streaming services, and it's a fucking nightmare to jump on because it's just like cable television all over again. And now people are like, it's time to go sail in the high seas because I don't want to pay for 30 different fucking subscriptions to watch all my favorite shows. So, yeah. we'll see what happens with all that. I think it's gonna only be a continuing story. Last,
I'm just waiting for the day where there's only that one guy who has all the streaming services, and he's uploading to the Pirate Bay, and
not me.
and like everybody's just leeching off that one person that's still paying for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens.